Hi, good morning, students. Hi, Ritya. Yes, how are you? Yes, good, man. I am also fine. I am good. Okay, then, Lavanya, Prakriti, Navyashri, all of you. Good morning. What is Prakriti? Prakriti came later. Hi, man. All of you. How are you? Only 47 members happened today. Yes, it's time, right? 29. It's 9:29. People are not yet got in. No idea. Why are they not coming early? Nisarga is there? Not there yet. Pratibha, hi. Okay, good morning. Right. So let's now continue. Yesterday I gave you how exactly the first cell, protobiont, was formed. Right? First cell was protobiont. What is the other name for the protobiont? What is the name I gave you other than protobiont? It's like a first cell. How it is? It is having the simple character. The protein coat will be there, surrounded by some water molecule, and it started dividing. It works like a living cell because it starts dividing using energy, and it will build the things also. It will break and release energy and uses the energy and build the molecules. So this is all fine. But there was one problem. There was no proper. So I told you proteins were only taking care of whole thing. Therefore, there was no proper organization. Therefore, once the nucleic acid developed, it took control over the cell and it started organizing the cell division. Right? It became the hereditary material. Is it fine? This is what I was giving you yesterday. Right? So now what happened is, so as the time continued, prolonged duration, some of these proteins were acting like enzymes. They developed the catalytic activity. What is catalytic? They started fast increasing the pace of reaction. So the things became faster, right? Therefore, suddenly there was this change happening because once enzymes were developed, the things became faster. So therefore, the reaction started getting very fast, right? So now what happened is the end products were forming early, and later these protein, the only when the plasma membrane developed, protein and lipid membrane developed around the nucleic acid, that acted like a living cell, real living cell, like virus cells. It's a first cell, independent cell, right? That was almost like a bacteria, right? Almost was resembling a bacteria. Okay, this bacteria, like organism, it wanted energy. It was consuming certain chemicals which are present in the ocean, right? These were called as chemosynthetic bacteria or chemotrophs. First, the one who developed were chemotrophs. They were getting energy by using these chemicals present in ocean, right? Then, as the time passed, again, this all happened in 2000 million years ago, right? It took almost 2000 million years ago, all these things happened. Then slowly one day, a chlorophyll of the pigment developed. That's a chlorophyll. It started utilizing sunlight and producing oxygen. So if oxygen is produced, the things become easier, right? Oxygen, when it was produced, it was converting from reducing earth to oxidizing earth, right? Atmosphere converted from reducing to oxidizing earth. So therefore, the environment slowly modified with the oxygen. So all the prototrophs, that is the phototrophs, developed, and all heterotrophs started depending on this, and they started consuming. They were producing, they were consuming, producing, consuming. So like that it happened, and the life was settled. This is what we call it as the origin of life. This life was originated this way. Correct? Now came, this is one unit. Till here you have to write now. See, real in detail I'm giving you because Whatever I'm giving is holding good for both the NEET and your board exams, right? In board exams, so big thing you need not to write, just write how the life originated. That is how was the earth, how Stanley Miller experiment proved that from abiogenetic components, biotic things produced. Then once the biotic things were independent, then they started producing themselves. So that was the biogenesis started, right? First it was starting thing is only about the abiogenesis, but later it converted into biogenesis. Did you get it? Understood? So after that, what is evolution comes now. Once the life was originated, then the evolution means how these modern living beings are formed. Only we are talking till now how life originated. That's the origin of life, right? So till whatever I'm giving now is there in the coming test. But next thing I'm giving you is evolution. Evolution is modification of the descendants to form new organisms, modern organism. That is called as what we call it as the evolution. Evolution is how it is changing time to time, right? So for this evolution, a lot of theories have been put forward. You already know that Lamarckism is there, Darwinism is there, all those theories we have studied. Then afterwards, there is a proof that evolution happened like this, right? There are various proofs. So then only we will complete. It's a big chapter, quite big chapter, but more descriptive chapter. Therefore, I'm giving all detail because we have a lot of time also. Okay, don't worry about the time. Then we are doing it. Everything in detail so that NEET also will learn, all the competitive exams also will be learning, because whatever I gave you, it was in detailed explanation. It was a detailed explanation of this. Isn't it fine? Is it fine? All of you are understanding this? What about the Nisarga has come? Nisarga is there? Okay. Then Sanjay, Samyak, many are not there. 86 members only have come today. Shweta is there. Sanjay is there. Yeah, they're there. They're very silent children. Very good. So silent people, they are listening. I hope so. Right? Silent means they are listening. They are not much typing at all. Right? Good here. Right. So we'll write till here. So what all I told you, the first one, eubiont, how it converted into a chemotropic bacteria, then chemotroph converted into phototropic bacteria, then life started when oxygen was produced in Zoom. It's like a happening fast, right? So for that, I told you first proteins converted into enzymes, then nucleic acid was covered by lipoproteinous membrane, there's a plasma membrane. Then there was a control over entry and exit, because plasma membrane, the lipoproteinous membrane is semi-permeable, selectively permeable. That's why whatever it selects only will enter, not all of them. Do you get it? So therefore, we want to learn about these separate steps. Okay. So let me give you in short, because those people who are joining slowly, slow motion, 90 members have joined right now. Oh, we are joining now. 90th person yaru ee join ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 9 ಗಂಟೆ 36 ನಿಮಿಷ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ತನಕ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ ಜಾನ್ ಮಕ್ಳೆ? ಏನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಓಡೋಡ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಬಸ್ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಾ ನೀವು? ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಸ್ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮಿಸ್, ಅದಾಯ್ತು ಮಿಸ್, ಇದಾಯ್ತು ಮಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಎಂತದು? ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣ, ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅದೊಂದೇ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಾಯ್ತು ಇದಾಯ್ತು. ಮನಸ್ಸಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತಾವೇ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. Right? I'm observing. What are the other reasons you can give now? ಓಡ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೀವು ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎದ್ದು ಕೂತಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಈಗ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಇವತ್ತು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ಮುಖಗಳು ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಯಾವ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕೂತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕಲಿಯೋಬೇಕಂತ ಒಂದು ಎಂಥೂಸಿಯಾಸಮ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಖುಷಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಬಿಡೋರು, ನಿದ್ದೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವಾಗ ಬಾಯ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಟಾಟಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದು. So don't do that. Learn something. Okay. Almost the year is going. Complete the complete syllabus agogta ide. You can't be like so cool now, right? Be careful when we are talking about the complete subject. What is there on the board? Yenide board mele bardirodu yav chitra? Yaragaru nenepideya idu? I hope you can write. You can remember this. Malagidralla? Monocot stem. Yes, very good. Prakriti monocot stem section. Good. Crans anatomy. Skull-like bundles. Very good. So that is happening for first years. For you, life is originating from nothing. It is from nothing, from only gases, some chemicals, life has originated. So what did I tell you about the origin of life? Already there was a eubiont form. We are going to start with from the eobiont. Eobiont. I don't know if you say eubiont, you will write eo only. Eobiont was formed, which is having, what is the component of the eobiont? There was a protein surrounded by water molecule. This is a protein. This is the water. This protein was very active and it started dividing, forming small units surrounded by water molecules. Is safe inside. This is a water molecule. This we call it the co-acervate. So I want to start with the co-acervates now. Co-acervates. I told you what happened with the co-acervates. They became slightly independent. So one co-acervate, some of the co-acervates which are having proteins, right? They have proteins plus water molecule. Later, this protein developed the catalytic activity. Catalytic means it started showing enzymatic activity. So it converted into enzymes. So enzymes help in speeding up of the reactions, speed up of the reactions. Okay. Then in the co-acervate, the protein code was here. Protein developed with the lipids. Protein along with the lipids formed the membrane, the living membrane, plasma membrane. And centrally there was a nucleic acid developed. They might have been like this. What is that making? Nucleic acid started independently acting and controlling whatever input and outputs of the cell. Right? This is how the co-acervate become a independent cell. Okay. Write down about this. Okay. So you must be knowing I'm giving the notes in details. Can you make out nowadays notes in evolution is not short. You would have seen the EPL also. EPL you read for the board exams, it's fine. But if at all you're writing board examinations, some add these points that will be more different from other students. Okay. Otherwise, everybody will write from whatever is there in the EPL, right? So what I want is you to be different from others, so that you will get more attention while correcting the papers. Okay, then eubionts are written, co-acervates are written, right? So you are written that 3 billion years back, eubionts were originated. Yes or no? 3,000 million or 3 billion years ago, eubionts originated. How the bardidra non-cellular? Okay, next you write. This next point is this non-cellular, these non-cellular forms might have been giant molecules. Giant molecules with proteins, polysaccharides, and RNAs. With proteins, polysaccharides, and RNAs. rRNA or the ribosomal RNA, rRNA or the ribosomal RNA also shows catalytic property. also shows catalytic property. Only these ribosomal RNAs, only these ribosomal RNAs were catalyzing many reactions. Ribosomal RNAs were catalyzing many reactions before the origin of enzymes. Before the origin of enzymes. Next paragraph. Coacervates did not have lipid molecules. Coacervates did not have lipid molecules or lipid membranes. Therefore, it was not acting as an independent cell. Therefore, it was not acting as an independent cell. Next side reading. Formation of first cell. Formation of first cell. Once proteins were formed, some proteins developed the ability to catalyze certain chemical reactions. Developed the ability to catalyze certain chemical reactions. Next, thus they acted as enzymes. Thus, they acted as enzymes. Next, formation of enzymes speeded up the synthesis. Formation of enzymes speeded up the synthesis of various molecules within eubionts. Molecules within eubionts. This made the eubionts more successful. This made the eubionts more successful in processing food, and producing energy. Okay, I repeat the sentence. This might have made the eubionts more successful in processing food and producing energy. Processing food and producing energy. Next, nucleic acids. Nucleic acids. RNA was the first nucleic acid formed. RNA was the first nucleic acid formed and was followed by DNA. First nucleic acid formed and it was followed by DNA. Okay, first RNA, later followed by DNA. These two nucleic acids started controlling. Protein synthesis. Controlling protein synthesis. Next, DNA developed the ability of mutation. DNA developed the ability of mutation. DNA developed the ability of mutation. If mutation happens, only new organism can produce. Huh? Mutation. Mutations occurred because of high temperature. High temperature that existed in early Earth. Means there was very high temperature, no? So mutation could happen only at high temperature because DNA get modified at a very high temperature. I repeat, mutations occurred due to high temperature that was present on early Earth. Early Earth is hale kal time ali. Ability to mutate or mutation. DNA developed the ability of mutation. Okay. Second point another, the high temperature that was prevailing in the early Earth helped in mutation. Next, development of biological membranes. Biological membranes develop ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. First is the enzymes ಎಲ್ಲ catalyze ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೆ DNA ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. DNA ಬಂದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ RNA ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ DNA ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. DNA ಬಂದು ಮ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. DNA ಮ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Then next, development of biological membranes. Finally, a protein lipid membrane developed around eubionts. Finally, a protein lipid membrane, protein lipid membrane developed around eubionts. This membrane controlled the entry and exit of certain molecules only. Entry and exit of certain molecules only. I repeat, this membrane controls the entry and exit of certain molecules. Okay, fine. Let's continue. Once plasma membrane develop ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ selective permeability ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಮಾತ್ರ ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಆಚೆ ಬಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, next. Due to this ಅಂದ್ರೆ membrane, the growth and division became regulated. The growth and division became regulated. This is the first living cell or an organism. This is the first living cell or an organism. Eobionts ಬೇರೆ first cell ಬೇರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? First cell or an organism. This matter originated 2000 million years ago. This matter originated 2000 million years ago. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಂತ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಲೈಫ್ ತರ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಲೈಫ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವಾಗ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಲ್. Next, next point, right? Originated 2000 million years ago. ಈಗ ಯೂಬಯಾನ್ 3000 ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಇದು ಆಗಿದ್ದವಾಗ 2000 million years ago ಅಂತ. ಬರ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾ ಸಮಯ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? We are coming near the present. Right. Next to write side heading heterotrophic organisms. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಬಂದಿರೋದು heterotrophic ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? Yeah. Right. Next side heading heterotrophic organisms. The first living organism was produced. First living organism was produced in oxygen-free environment. Was in oxygen-free environment. That oxygen ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಅಂತ. Therefore, they were getting energy Therefore, they were getting energy through anaerobic respiration or fermentation. Through anaerobic respiration or fermentation. I repeat. The first living organism developed in oxygen-free environment. Full stop. Therefore, they were getting energy through anaerobic respiration or fermentation. And thus they were heterotrophs. And thus they were heterotrophs. I repeated, Sanjit. Next, right? Autotrophism. Autotrophism. First autotrophs. Amal autotrophs barate. Okay? Write the heading autotrophism or autotrophics. Autotrophism andre self-dependent. Once the earth got cooled, earth cool ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ organic compounds ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಯ್ತು. Once earth got cooled, synthesis of organic molecules reduced. Synthesis of organic molecules reduced. Heterotrophs started getting energy by acting on certain chemicals. Heterotrophs started getting energy by acting on certain chemicals. They were called chemotrophs. They were called chemotrophs. For example, nitrifying bacteria, sulfur bacteria, etc. Nitrifying bacteria, sulfur bacteria, etc. Next, photosynthesizing organisms developed once the chlorophyll pigment was produced. Once the chlorophyll pigment was produced. Once the chlorophyll pigment was produced. Once chlorophyll pigment was produced. These were called phototrophs. These were called phototrophs. They produced organic food. They produced organic food by using the sunlight energy with the help of chlorophyll. Sunlight energy with the help of chlorophyll. As they started producing oxygen, the environment get oxidized. The environment got oxidized. These autotrophs were like blue-green algae. These autotrophs were like blue-green algae. Can you hear Sanjit? They were like blue-green algae. Now also it's breaking, huh? Nothing wrong, no. My internet is full, baby. Maybe Sanjit, you have some wrong thing with your internet. Other children, can you hear me? Only Sanjit is saying, ma'am, voice is breaking. What about other students? Is this breaking? Yes means what? Is it breaking? It's clear. It's not breaking. Yes, ma'am. Now it is clear. Maybe your internet, Sanjay, not me. Okay, done, ma'am. They can all hear me well. Okay. Did you write it? So first, autotrophs were like blue-green algae. You have written that sentence? Next point, formation of ozone layer. Formation of ozone layer. See, are you able to follow how I am saying it? Henge aitu antar first chemotrophs helidna. Chemotrophs ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿತ್ತು? First they were fermenting things. Ferment ಮಾಡಿ organic compound ಮೇಲೆ they were anaerobic organisms. Then chemosynthetic bacteria ತರ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ? ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಯಾನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ಇರಬಹುದು, ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ. ಅದೇನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಕಿಮೋಟ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಬಂದು ಆಟೋಟ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಟೋಟ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ they had developed the chlorophyll content. Chlorophyll in the they started using sun energy and produced glucose and produced oxygen. Once oxygen ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ reducing earth ಬಂದು oxidizing earth ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Are you getting this? These organisms first formed were like blue-green algae. Okay, blue-green algae ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೋರೋಫಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಕ್ಲೋರೋಫಿಲ್ ಜಾಂಥೋಫಿಲ್ಸ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ಲೂ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆಯಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಮಿಟಿವ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲಿಸನ್, there is a new thing, that is the ozone layer formed on the atmosphere surface, upper stratosphere only. Ozone layer ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ? It controlled the entry of UV radiations. ಯಾವಾಗ UV radiation ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಆವಾಗ ಯೂಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ UV radiations ಬಂದ್ರೆ we are going to die, we get lot of problems. So ಯಾವಾಗ ಓಝೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್, ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಟು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಓಝೋನ್, O3. O3 ಇಂದ ಓಝೋನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇಂದ ಓಝೋನ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಓಝೋನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯೂಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್. See how life has come to this point ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಒಂದು ಆಗ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ವೆದರ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಹೇಗೆ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಹಾಳಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ CFC ಇಂದ ನಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡರ್ನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಹಾಳು ತನ್ನಿಂತಾನೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಹಾಳಾಗೋದು ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ 1000 ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ವರ್ಷ ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ 1000 ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಎಗೋ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ನಾವು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಟಕ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು 100 to 200 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮಚ್ ಬಾದರ್ಡ್ ಏನೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿದೆ ತಿಂಡಿ ಊಟ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎದ್ದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಮ್ಮ ಊಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಪ್ಪ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮುಗಿದೋಯ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಂತ ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಟೆಡ್ ವೇ ದೇ ವರ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ ದೇ ಕೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಕ್ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಬಿಡು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಗುಂಡಂತರ ಕೂತಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲ ರೈಟ್ therefore observe and learn so complicated way we have this beautiful environment with us ಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ಮಳೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಥಂಡಿಗಾಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಶೆಕೆಗಾಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಂಜಾಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಾವು ಓಕೆ ಸಂಜನಾ ಯಾರಪ್ಪ ಸಂಜನಾ ಈಗ ಬಂದ ಇವ್ ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಇವತ್ತಾ ನಿಸರ್ಗ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ ಸೊ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಸರ್ಗ ನೋ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನ ಬಂದಿದೀಯಾ ಅಂತನಾ ಓಕೆ ಗುಡ್ ಅವಾಗಿಂದ ಕಾಣಿಲ್ಲ ನೀನು ಓಕೆ ನಾವು ಡಿಡ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಒಂದು ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾವು ಆ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಓಕೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಆನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಅದ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಡಿಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಮನೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಗಿಡ ಇದ್ರೆ ಗಿಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲೆ ಹರಿಯೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಫುಲ್ ಅವರ್ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರೋದು ಎಲೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬರೋದು ನಾವೇ ಗಿಡ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೇರ್ ಹಾಗೆ ನಾವ್ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕಾಳಜಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಓ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಮಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಅರ್ತ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈಗಲೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇದೆ ಅರ್ತ್ ರೈಟ್ ಆ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಈ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನೋ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 3000 2000 years after that maybe something else will be existing right they were all studying this environment ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ they thought that such environment is there in Mars and all try ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ ಬಟ್ ಈ ಮೀಟಿಯೋರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಮೀಟಿಯೋರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ತರ ಇತ್ತು ಬಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಈಗ ರೈಟ್ ನಾ ಅದೇನಾದ್ರು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಇರೋಣ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒನ್ ವೇ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಜನಗಳು ಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ನೀವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ಫೇವರಬಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ಸಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ನ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ ಈ ಜಾಗ ಫಿಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಜಾಮ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿರೋಣ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಡನ್ ಓಕೆ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೀಪಿಕಾನೇ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಆರ್ ಯು ದೇರ್ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಇಂಚರ ಓಕೆ ರೈಟ್ ಆನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಗೌರಿ ಇಂಚರ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ ಗೌರಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರಿ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೋ ಗೌರಿ ಇಂಚರ ಇದೆಯಾ ಓಕೆ ಗುಡ್ ಇಂಚರ ನೀನು ಕೂಡ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಮ್ಮ ಮಧ್ಯ ಮಧ್ಯ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಓಜೋನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ as the oxygen accumulated in atmosphere As the oxygen changed, oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere, UV radiations, ultraviolet radiations, produced ozone from oxygen. Produced ozone into oxygen. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಾನು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಇತ್ತು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಲಿಪಿಡ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಓಕೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಿಪೋಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಇದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಹೌದಾ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಆರ್ಎನ್ಎ ಒನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಕೆಟಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಇದು ಕೆಟಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದು ಡಿಎನ್ಎ ಆಯ್ತು ಡಿಎನ್ಎ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್ ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ because of the heat existed in that environment. Okay, this is the first cell. Okay, next what happens, the first cell, earth started cooling of the earth stopped the synthesis of what, the various chemical formations or the combination complex material stopped. Then cooling effect in the cells became independent. Then first chemotrophs ಆಯ್ತು chemotrophs which were using the chemicals like sulfur, iron and they were using nitrogen ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದು autotrophs ಆಯ್ತು autotrophs ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ they developed chlorophyll with the help of chlorophyll they synthesized food they synthesized organic matter using sunlight okay ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು there was a formation of oxygen. So oxygen developed at Takshana, it is a oxidizing earth type. Earth. Oxidizing at Takshana, next one though, this oxygen combined with another oxygen O, right? 2O2 plus O2 produced ozone 2O3. O3, that is ozone developed. Okay, ozone development happened because of the UV light, UV radiations. 2O2 plus O2 formed 2O3. Ozone developed. Okay, write that reaction. 2O2 plus O2 producing 2O3. Yet repeat the sentence. First, very other. I repeat ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ as oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere UV light changed oxygen or UV light formed ozone from oxygen ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರಿ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ದಿನ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ ದೀಪಿಕಾನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳ ಶ್ವೇತಾ ಇದೆಯಮ್ಮ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇದೀನಿ ದೀಪಿಕಾ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಮೀ ಲೇಟರ್ ಓಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 1 ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಮೀ ಗೌರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರಿ ಇಸ್ ಅಬ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ನಿನ್ನೇನು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲ okay ozone. Ozone formed a layer in the atmosphere that blocked the UV light. That blocked the UV light, leaving only visible light. Leaving only visible light as a main source of energy. First, bari madlo mehek. Ozone layer formed in the atmosphere blocked the UV light, leaving the visible light as source of energy. I repeated mehek. Okay, next, right? Photosynthesis released oxygen. Photosynthesis released oxygen for use in respiration. Photosynthesis released oxygen for use in respiration and produced carbon dioxide. Produced carbon dioxide. I repeat, Prakriti is asking me to repeat. Okay, listen. Acid photosynthesis released oxygen for respiration. Photosynthesis released oxygen for respiration and produced carbon dioxide. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಕತೆ ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಬಂತು ಆಚೆಯಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ all the oxygen and carbon dioxide present in the Earth's atmosphere, all the oxygen and carbon dioxide present in the Earth's atmosphere are the products of living beings and passed it to other living organisms over and over again. Passed it to other living beings over and over again during evolution. Like, what's the meaning? Photosynthesis agi oxygen release agide. Oxygen na living beings, others heterotrophs use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. They leave carbon dioxide. Plants use carbon dioxide. They produce photosynthesis, undergo photosynthesis, produce again oxygen. Then to the heterotrophs will take it. Even plants will respire. So like that, it is like self-sufficient. We are producing carbon dioxide, they are using it, and they are producing oxygen, we are using it. Like that, it is generation to generation, over and over, it is continuously stabilized. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ, ನಮ್ದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ we are self-sufficient ಅಂತ. Okay, ನಾವು ತಗೊಂತಾ ಇರೋ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್, ನಾವು ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ತಗೋತದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತ ಫೋಟೋಸಿಂಥಸಿಸ್ ಬರುವಂತ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಂತ. Okay, next write the heading formation of eukaryotes. Formation of eukaryotes. The first organisms were not having the organized nucleus. The first organisms were not having the organized nucleus. Even today, bacteria and blue-green algae, are without the proper nucleus. Are without the proper nucleus. In later stages, nucleus developed a specific nuclear membrane. Nucleus developed a specific nuclear membrane and separated from the cytoplasm. And separated from the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm developed membrane-bound organelles. Membrane-bound organelles. And became eukaryotes. And became eukaryotes. Next, multicellular organisms. Multicellular. What is that you want me to repeat, Prakriti? I said cytoplasm developed specialized organelles and became eukaryotes. I repeated. Next, right? Next heading, next point. Multicellular organisms were produced by gathering of cells and differentiation of cells with gradual modifications. Okay, ma'am, after differentiation differentiation and with gradual modifications. Differentiation and with gradual modifications. Sanjit, artha aita? Okay, done. So idu first story mugidiliಗೆ origin of life. Okay, illinda munde ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಪ್ರೋಟೋಬಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಮುಂದೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ. ಪ್ರೋಟೋಬಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೇಗೆ ಕೀಮೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಇಂದ ಕೀಮೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಕೀಮೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಆಟೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಆಟೋಟ್ರೋಫ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಯೂಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯೂಕ್ಯಾರಿಯೋಟ್ಸ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಸೆಲ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್. ಹೀಗೆ ಲೈನ್ ಗೆ ಹಾಕೋತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು. right? Very gas hogbittu gas ninda ninge enayitu first combine agi some micromolecules are giant macromolecules like DNA, RNA or nucleotides or proteins alla aitu amale coservates aitu coservates alle protein surrounded by a water molecule aitu aa coservates breakdown agi division agi like living activity they were doing but they are not independent. So then the protein, the RNA also was acting like the enzyme by catalysis, and some proteins developed catalytic activity. Then RNA in the DNA. The DNA will took the control over protein synthesis, and at that time the lipids were formed. Lipid formed one layer, protein lipid layer that is forming the plasma membrane. That was the first cell, plasma membrane, that is having lipid protein layer with a nucleic acid at the center, and the nucleic acid at the center is the first cell. Amala first cell in the first formed cells were chemotrophs. They were fermenting anaerobes. Amala they acted on certain chemicals getting energy, right? Our energy ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವಲ chemosynthetic bacteria in the phototrophic bacteria. Once the phototrophic bacteria developed, they were like prokaryotes. And there was formation of the oxygen because chlorophyll developed. Chlorophyll is the protein content. Once chloroplast developed, oxygen developed. Oxygen form atakshana one ozone layer form aitu. The ozone layer agbiಟ್ಟು the environment becomes suitable for the growth of every organism. Then these organisms which were prokaryotes were converting into eukaryotes. Eukaryotes became multicellular organisms, gradually modified. Then living beings originated. Now this is all how life originated. Now the question is how these complicated things are there. We are human beings, some are dogs and cats and monkeys and all. How are we modifying? Still these bacteria are still remain like bacteria. Bacteria will never convert to human being. Right? ಯಾಕೆ ಕೆಲವೆಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ ತರ ಇದಾನೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಬ್ಲೂ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಅಲ್ಗೆ ಇದೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಅಲ್ಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಬ್ರಯೋಫೈಟ್ಸ್, ಕೆಲವು ಟೆರಡೋಫೈಟ್ಸ್, and some of them protozoans, some of them puriferants. How this evolution has happened? How there is a descendants modified into so many varieties of life? That is what we study under the heading evolution. This is what is the story now. ಹೇಗೆ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ ಇರೋದು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಹೇಗಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನೇ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಯರೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಪುಟ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಥಿಯರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್. ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಥಿಯರಿ ಯು ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್, it was given by scientist Lamarck. Okay, so that is what we call it as the Lamarckism. ಇದು ತುಂಬಾ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಸುಮಾರು ವರ್ಷ ತನಕ ಇದು ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇತ್ತು. Lamarckism ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಂದ್ರೆ how the complicated different organisms, how they are produced from the descendants, how they modify. So his theory is very popularly called as use and disuse theory. Disuse theory ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ಒಂದ್ಸರ್ತಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ. ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಸಿ, organisms which were earlier present, they were utilizing some part of their body very much all the time, and they were using it and they needed it. Only those parts they wanted it, they were using it, they grew well. The parts which they were not used, they diminished. That's what is called use and disuse theory. For this, he gives an example. A lot of examples he has given. One of the example I'll give you. Right? You know already neck of giraffe. Giraffe earlier they had small neck. Inge sಣ್ಣ neck ಇತ್ತು, ಕಿವಿ ಇದು ಜಿರಾಫೆ ತರ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಜಿರಾಫೆ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಹಿಂಗ್ ಜಿರಾಫೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸಣ್ಣ ತಲೆ ಇತ್ತು, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಕತ್ತೆ ತರ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದು ಹಿಂಗಿತ್ತು ಜಿರಾಫೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಮುಂದೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಇದು, they started using they were feeding on the ground leaves and other things. But as the time passed on, the competitors were more there. So they wanted to eat more and more food from the taller trees. They started stretching their neck like this. Their neck got elongated. ಹೀಗೊಂದು ಜಿರಾಫೆ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಇದು ಲಾಂಗ್ ನೆಕ್ ಜಿರಾಫೆ. ಹಳೇದು ಹಿಂಗಿತ್ತು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಲಾಂಗ್ ನೆಕ್ ಜಿರಾಫೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಚಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನೆಕ್. ಜನರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಡುಯಿಯಿಂದ ಉದ್ದಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಜನರೇಷನ್ their neck got elongated because of use of this organ, that's neck, very much. That was giraffe's neck experiment. Experiment ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು, the theory it is. You cannot see that, right? Second theory was, second example, the first example. Second one was the limbless snakes were produced. Snakes. Snakes earlier he thought that they were having small limbs, 4 limbs and all, like other reptiles, and they were crawling and all. But slowly what happened is snakes started getting into burrows. They started burrowing habit. Right? Sons and burrows ali move ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಣ್ಣ ನಿಂಗೆ burrow ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದ್ರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ snake ಗೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ snake ಇದೆ ಇದು. ಓಕೆ? ಇದಕ್ಕೆ snake ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ? ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕಾಲಿದ್ರೆ it cannot get entry easily. So slowly it started folding the legs and it started not using these. So after some days, you had a snake without the limbs. Limbless snakes were produced. On theory idu ella true anta tilkobekiಲ್ಲ. ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರ ಒಂದು theory ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಾರ್ವಿನ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಬೇರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? Okay, let's learn. Write the heading evolution. Next one page ಅರ್ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು next page ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಜಿರಾಫೆ ತರ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಕತ್ತೆ ತರ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. Anyway, I can't help it. This much only I can do it. The term evolution was coined by Herbert Spencer. Herbert Spencer. The term evolution was coined by Herbert Spencer. Underline ಮಾಡಿ, scientist ಅಷ್ಟುಗಳನ್ನ underline ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. Herbert Spencer, an English philosopher, scientist ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವನು, English philosopher, which means process of continuous change. Which means process of continuous change. It refers to a change from one form to another. It refers to a change from one form to another. Next, the change in living organisms with time. The change in living organisms with time is called organic evolution or biological evolution. The change in living organisms with time is called organic evolution or biological evolution. Next point. Organic evolution was given by Charles Darwin as Charles Darwin, Charles, Charles Darwin, according to which the present day complex organisms have originated during the course of ages. I repeat, the present day complex organisms have originated during the course of ages from earlier simpler forms of life by gradual changes in sequential manner according to the environmental requirements. I repeat the whole sentence. Dot sentence is according to this. The present day complex organisms have originated during the course of ages from earlier simple forms of life by process of gradual changes occurring in sequential manner according to the environmental requirements. Done? Write down. Theories on evolution. Heading. Theories on evolution. Giraffe kombo ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಕೊಂಬು ಕಿವಿ ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಕೊಂಬು ಕಿವಿ ಎರಡು ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಏನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಜಿರಾಫೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ Theories of evolution. First one, Lamarck's theory or Lamarckism. Lamarck's theory or Lamarckism. French biologist French biologist Chevalier Lamarck. Chevalier Lamarck explained evolution in his famous book Philosophiae Zoologic. On book Philosophiae Zoologic. In 1809. On book ಹೆಸರು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಸುಮಾರು ಜನರ ಬುಕ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾವೆ ಈಗ. Philosophiae Zoologic in 1809. This theory is popularly called use and disuse theory. Use and disuse theory, or inheritance of acquired characters. ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೆಳೀತದೆ ಅಂತ. Acquired characters. Use and disuse theory ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Acquired characters ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ characters ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ. Inheritance of acquired characters. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಇದು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೀಟ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇದರಿಂದ. According to him, organisms inherit acquired characters. Organisms inherit acquired characters based on new needs. Based on new needs. An organism can develop an acquired character by using it often or may lose an organ if they are not used. If they are not used. Okay, do one thing. These two examples you write it tomorrow, and can you write it and bring it tomorrow? I repeat, okay. An organism can develop an organ by using it continuously, or may lose an organ if it is not used. Okay, can you write the example what I explained already? Giraffes experiment example and all. One paragraph can you write, and tomorrow you explain me, so that I can start with the Darwin's theory. Okay, will you all write it? Already people have escaped. 85 members are there. 110 ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಓಡೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. Okay, then see you tomorrow. Write two examples. Giraffe neck, organ use will grow. That is, the use of organ will improve the organ. And if no use, limbless amphibians, limbless reptiles will grow. That is like snake. Two examples to write and be ready tomorrow. Okay. So till here, origin of life mugitala, alli tanaka test ಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮುಂದೆ ಥಿಯರಿಗಳು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ನೇಮ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? See you then. Bye. I love you.